inconvenience folks. And most people are very understanding of that.
Most.
But you know, in today's times, you all don't have enough troopers to put out with every road crew. You don't have enough police officers to put out even through the city with every road crew that's out here working. And it makes it impossible to do that, correct?
It would not be possible, unfortunately.
No, it would not.
And so when people start looking at, let me ask you all this, you guys, what if somebody comes up on our road crew or another motorist sees another driver doing something dangerous around these road crews? Can they report that? What are their avenues of reporting that?
Go ahead.
No, obviously, they can, in a safe manner, use their cell phone, contact KSP, if it's in the city, Elizabethtown Police Department, or might even get the Hardin County Sheriff's Office and report it. You know, unfortunately, it's one of those things that we have to observe a violation occur. So hopefully, if we have someone in close in the area, we can send them out there and hopefully make contact with that person and see what's going on.
Yeah, just understand that we can't, just to piggyback on what he said, we cannot cite someone that we do not personally observe the violation. The officer has to observe the violation. That doesn't mean that we still maybe won't make contact with that person if we locate them, even if we don't necessarily witness the violation, and just kind of give them a reminder, hey, you know, this is the extent of it. And again, I keep saying this, but it's not just a ticket you should be concerned about. That you could cost someone, you know, could cost someone their life. I mean, these are glamorous, thankless jobs that these folks do, and it's so essential. I mean, it's equally, I would argue, maybe more important even than what Scotty and I do. I mean, that's something that it has to be done. These roads have to be maintained, and it's so important to keeping everyone safe.
So if people a lot of times I know would be going, man, I wonder if my call did any good, or I wonder if they were able to find them. Can they do a follow-up with you all and check and see if anything happened?
Yeah, I mean, they can certainly call back, and if we have any information available, we will share that with them. You know, in addition to someone else on the side of the road that we frequently fail to talk about is sanitation workers. Those guys are out early in the morning, sometimes before the sun comes up. And again, that is a job that people don't realize, but if those guys weren't there for 1 week alone, I mean, think about how much trash would pile up.
Right.
And they do a phenomenal job, and they're out on these county roads, and you know, so we need to keep those folks in mind as well, and appreciate them. Mail carriers, paper delivery drivers, again, they're out in wee hours of the morning doing this job, so we can enjoy the luxury of getting up and walking to our mailbox and getting a newspaper out of it or getting mail out of it. And we need to be mindful of those folks on the roadway.
And I guess we need to include tow truck drivers in that as well, because a lot of times they're out on things that you all are not involved in. It's not a crash, but a vehicle just breaks down or gets stuck, and they're trying to get a vehicle out. Sometimes it becomes hard for them to even do their job.
We get a lot of requests from tow truck operators, especially on 65, and sometimes on the parkways here in Hardin County. You know, requesting they're in a tight spot, especially if they're in the construction zone or something like that, and they'll request a unit to come out and just, you know, use their blue lights and try to make sure that traffic does stay over.
And this is summer in Kentucky, so what goes on in the summer? Farming. I mean, this is especially Hardin County, big farming community. You know, these grain farmers are out till wee hours of the morning. They're up early. You know, right now people are cutting hay and they're moving equipment back and forth. We need to be mindful of that, slow-moving vehicles as well, because all these folks we're discussing have families that they want to go home to.
Well, that brings up a good point, because let's say that our guys are out cutting a roadway or a right-of-way, grain farmers out, they're driving slow-moving vehicles. We're in a no-pass zone. Can motorists, if they're slow-moving, they're going much slower than the marked speed limit, can motorists pass those slow-moving vehicles even though it's a double yellow line?
When safe to do so. When safe to do so. If you have a vehicle stopping, when safe to do so. But a double yellow line and a blank, no. I mean, there's a double yellow line there for I missed the double yellow line part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Double yellow line you can't pass. There's no exemption for that. If it's a double yellow line, it's there because it's a blind area. It needs to be a solid or a dotted line so you can go around.
They must
Go ahead,
follow,
Scotty.
they have to follow the traffic laws, and for that, particularly on a marked road, it's going to be either a dash line or a solid yellow line.
Now, if there is a flagger there that's waving them,
The
then
the flagger is taking control of that roadway at that time, and then you proceed with whatever instructions they give.
Okay, all right. Because I know a lot of people will ask me, well, you all are out there mowing, was on WL line. I went around them anyhow. That's some things that, some of our people that are watching the show may not realize that you have to follow the traffic laws, even though the vehicle's going slower than what you want to go.
A double line is there for a reason. It's because you're unable to, you don't have a lot of clearance ahead, and it's just not safe to pass there.
Okay.
And you particularly have to be careful under those circumstances as well. The mowing crew's not expecting you to pass if it's a double yellow line as well. So you're putting yourself and them in extra peril by doing that.
I know, Dan, some of the things that the mowing crew said, especially concerning that, is that sometimes they'll be mowing and they come up on some type of obstacle and they have to swing out in the road. They're thinking that there's not anybody behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, talking about flaggers taking control of the roadway, that doesn't mean once the flagger tells you to go, it's green flag racing, so to speak, at that point. You need to be cautious still as you pass, because they may have to take evasive action to mitigate a safety risk at that point, or again, objects flying, so you have to be incredibly careful as you pass them.
Absolutely. I know with talking about that, do all of our folks that are working, whether it's mowing crews or road crews, do all of them have flaggers or some kind of escort vehicle or something?
They do. We're always at least going to have a flagging crew and or an escort vehicle. Of course, it depends on the situation, how many hands we have to have on the actual project, but we will always have some sort of cautionary directive, whether it be a vehicle or a flagging crew.
And I know with the debris on the roadway, a lot of people complain and say, well, they were going down through there and mowing and they threw all this debris out in the roadway. We've got a new vehicle that's got a blower on the back of it now that tries to get as much of that off the road as our mowers go
Absolutely.
through.
Again, we want to mitigate risk. So one of our escort vehicles has a blower on it, so we can blow that debris back off the road, again, to be safe for motorists.
And something to be mindful of, folks back home. When you're mowing grass on first of all, someone with a lawnmower doesn't have a flag crew out there as they're mowing along a ditch line at their house. So motorists need to be mindful of that. But folks that are actually, they're mowing, they need to be mindful of blowing grass into the roadway, because motorcycles come through there, like the county where they blow that off. Consider blowing it back into your yard, or if it's safe to do so, at least to get a blower and blow that off, because it's a slippery surface.
Absolutely, because they're providing another obstacle for them to go around.
Right.
Guys, while I've got y'all here, thinking about summer driving, what do you think our biggest obstacle is for summer driving?
I think that summer seems to put everyone in a good mood. I would say speed violations certainly increase during summer months.
I would also like to just mention that when it comes to summertime, we get storms roll in, and
Like this last week?
Yeah, we'll get these storms, and it never fails. We'll have 2 or 3 cars slide off, whether it's on a county road or on the WK or the Bluegrass. They hold water, and people, I stress it all the time. Everybody seems to drive better in the snow, but when it comes to rain, they think that they can still do, if it's 55 or 70 or whatever the speed limit, they feel like they can still do that, and they don't. They need to back that off. And we worked a accident on the WK. It was 4 boys, teenagers. They didn't get hurt, thank goodness, but they just slid off the road, and the little boy, he's a teenager, but the teenager told me, said, I was doing 70 miles an hour, and I said, well, when it's raining, when it's really hard and it's coming down and it's pedaling up on the roadway, back it off. You don't have to do that 70 miles an hour.
And there is a statute. Driving too fast for conditions.
Right.
And you can certainly be cited for that.
And
turn headlights on if you're driving. If you don't have the automatic lights, turn your headlights on when you're driving down the road in a rainstorm.
Yes.
And you can even be driving under the posted speed limit and still be cited for driving too fast for conditions.
That's right.
I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. And guys, we appreciate all that you all do, but people a lot of times the problem is they just don't pay attention. And hydroplaning, like you said, Scotty, is one of the worst things that we're seeing during the storms, summer storms, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
You lose all contact with the roadway, and you can't maneuver with like that.
Chris, we're almost out of time here, but you started talking about it earlier, motorcycles. We see more motorcycles out during the summertime because of the nice weather. give us some information for our motorists just to help them pay better attention to motorcycle riders.
You know, it's a smaller vehicle, so it's a little more difficult to see, Bryce. But obviously, you know, give them space. God forbid something happen and they come off that motorcycle. Give them space. The last thing you want to do is be right up tailgating them, then come off a motorcycle, and you could run over to actually witness one of these up on Gene Snyder Freeway, and it's not something that anyone wants to do.
Adjust your mirrors. You know, you might want to lower them a little bit so that you don't have as big of a blind spot and you can see a motorcycle.
Okay.
And
Dan-
motorcycles need to extend that same courtesy back to the other vehicles. I mean, they need to maintain a safe traveling distance from other cars so they are visible. You know, don't pass in blind curves and things of that nature.
Or in the emergency lane, like we see motorcycles do.
This isn't California. We don't do lane sharing in Kentucky.
That's right. Daniel, any closing comments for anything going on?
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity, and again, I'll just say be safe. It's beautiful weather out there. Let's get out there and enjoy it, but be mindful there are other people on the road that we need to be cautious of.
Absolutely. Guys, appreciate y'all's service, not only to the city of Elizabethtown, and the state of Kentucky, and our county. Appreciate what all of you all do, and thank you so much for being on our show today.
It was
Thanks
a
for having
pleasure.
us.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Yeah, just remember, it is summertime. We've got a lot more things going on. It is probably one of the best times of the year in Kentucky where you're able to get out and do more. People travel more. People are on the road more. Just pay attention. And, you know, as far as our county folks, our county road crews are trying to make the roads safer by the things that they're doing to either mow the right-of-ways or repair the roadways so that they can be a better drive for you as a motorist. Thanks for joining us today on Hardin County Educational Community TV, where we try to keep you informed on what's going on in this big area that we call Hardin County. But more importantly, what's going on in your students' lives in the Hardin County school system. Even though school is out for the summer, pay attention out there, because we'll have more young people out, more young people playing in yards, and more young people near the road. So pay extra attention. Enjoy the good old summertime, and we thank you for joining us here on Hardin County Education and Community TV. I'm Bryce Shoemate from Hardin County Government. Thanks for joining us.